Children? Now I think write down the stats for OBCs also. I'll give you stats. I think I have few. Yeah, OBC stats you write down. Below poverty line is 34% for OBCs. Below 34%. 34%. 38% of malnutrition. 72% of literacy. And 68 years of life expectancy. And 68 years of life expectancy.
What population of India is obese?
Nearly, I mean, I'll not say half, but maybe nearing around 30-35%.
What is 34%?
Below poverty line. And 68 years of life expectancy. Now before children, we'll complete minorities. Okay, children is anyway small topic. Maybe we will deal children tomorrow when we are talking about education also. Okay. Minorities. What is the basic criteria with respect to you classifying it as minorities?
Linguistic concerns, population.
Basically numeric, or it is numerical strength. Now when you talk about your numerical strength, whatever is in lesser proportions you call it as minority. Now anything that has greater than 50% population is what is your majority. Now when you talk about your Hindus, it is around 80%. But when you talk about other religious communities like your Islam, like your Christians, like your Buddhists, like your Jain, like your Parsis, all these are minority sections. Right? So the basic reason behind calling a particular community or classifying it as a minority is the numerical strength. Now when you talk about your constitution basically emphasizes on two types of minorities. One is your linguistic and religious minorities. Your Article 30 categorically states about your religious minorities and linguistic minorities. But whereas when you look at your Article 29, it basically talks about all sections of the society, which is in order to protect your language, script and culture. LSC. Including majority. It is all sections. Your all sections, Article 29, Article 30, it is regarding your linguistic as well as religious minorities.
Does it include even majority?
Which one?
29.
Yes, all sections.
But it exclusively mentions about minority.
No, that is only Article 30. Article 30 exclusively mentions about linguistic and religious, but whereas others are for all sections. Now when you look at the demographic distribution of minorities, for Muslims it is around 14.4%. For Christians it is around 2.3%. For Sikhs it is around 1.5%. For Jains it is around 0.1 to 0.2%. Then Buddhists and Parsis, it is around 50,000 people. When you look at the demographic status, This is the basic distribution when it comes to the demographic status.
14, that is.
Hmm? 14.4. 0.1 to 0.2%. Buddhis and Parsis. Now, when you look at the socio-economic status of these minorities, basically when you look at literacy, see the national average is around 74%. See, you cannot remember exact statistics. You cannot remember exact statistics for the literacy of your minorities. That is the reason why I am giving a graphical representation. Graphical representation in comparison to your national average. Now, when you talk about literacy, you have 74% as your national average. When you talk about the other communities, you have your Sikhs somewhere present like this. You have your Christians. Then you have your Buddhists. Then you have your Jains. Then you have your Parsis. But Muslims have a literacy rate which is lower than the national average. Now you can arrange these orders in some manner, your wish, but ensure that Christians have a greater literacy level when compared to your Muslims. That's it. That's it, you remember. Nothing to be confused. Just the national average, which is 74%. Muslims will have lower, Christians will have on a higher degree.
Jains are the highest.
Kind of.
So 6.
No, 6 are here.
Okay.
Now the second kind of socio-economic indicator that you're supposed to remember is LFPR. Labor Force Participation Rate or Ratio. Basically the national average is 40%. Muslims 33%. Jains 38%. Christians 42%. Then Buddhist 44%. So again here you remember that Muslims have lower LFPR, which is around 33, which is much less than your national average. Right?
Christians are at
42. Then the third indicator that you are supposed to remember with respect to the socio-economic status is the BPL, below poverty line. Now when you look at the below poverty line, it is around say 21.6%. Whereas when you look at Jains, it is around 19%. When you look at Buddhists, it is around 17%. Now when you talk about Muslims, it is around 28% and Christians around 23%. Is this clear? So you are supposed to remember one, demographic composition. Two, as part of your socio-economic status, you are supposed to remember literacy, LFPR and BPL, below poverty line. Is this clear? Now tell me, what are the issues of minorities in general? So if you want to talk about issues, then let's classify it like this. Tell me the issues with respect to Muslims.
representation.
Huh?
Political representation.
Now all the three issues, whatever you have seen, status, LFPR, BPL, literacy, right? So poor socio-economic conditions, LFPR, BPL, and what was the other one? Literacy. Then second, can I say about social stigma? Social stigma or social stereotyping. What we have discussed yesterday about the perception of Muslims with respect to a polis. Social stigma, or we can talk about ghettoization.
Ghettoization.
Yes. Ghettoization is a cluster formation. Ghettoization is that phenomena which leads to that cluster formation. Right? Social stigma. Then your poor political representation. Poor political representation. Poor political representations.
Huge family.
Yeah. I mean, that is basically a resultant, or the result of huge family size is what is your poor socio-economic conditions.
Which is resulting in poor socio-economic.
Which is resulting in poor socio-economic conditions. Political representations. So these are major issues with respect to Muslim. And to an extent you can even violence or radicalization. They are becoming the soft targets. Now when you talk about the issues of Christians,
Violence by them or violence
against them. Social
I
stigma.
was just asking, sir.
Social stigma.
I was just asking.
Yeah, got it.
Whether,
Against them. Mob lynchings.
like, they also will be involved mostly in the community. So I was just asking. Except for the point should have.
Christians. What are the issues with respect to Christians?
Poverty.
Poverty. What was the percentage? Around 23? 23%. You can say poverty. Then before poverty there is a kinds of social discrimination, especially with respect to untouchabilities. Now believe me this, I mean at least a practical observation, that when a Christian person goes to an Hindu house and asks house on rent, they'll not give you on rent. Yes? Observed? First they'll say whether she has a bindi or not. If there is no bindi, then they'll say it is not empty.
Actually, what I have seen is that they'll be giving sir actually. They'll first be giving the house. So what happens next is they'll be having some Friday or Sunday prayers. So they'll bring all the people and they will arrange a big party.
They'll not give you the house. I mean that's a kind of discrimination that is
No,
generally observed in the society.
Even I have seen this
social
like
stigma to an extent.
Christian people when go and ask for some water or some food, they'll not give it outside. I have seen this happening in some houses.
Okay.
In some.
See this.
There are people who don't give.
There's a lot of social discrimination against this community. Okay. So the issues with respect to untouchability or social discrimination. Then employment opportunities. Employment opportunities. Untouchability, employment opportunities, and the corresponding social impacts like your lack of, I'll not say lack of education, because Christian communities generally they have a very good education. They help each other.
Special missionaries, special colleges.
They get funds from other countries.
Other countries.
There is big, like huge community in my apartment, sir.
Okay.
They get like millions and millions from the
There's a lot of
USA.
things going.
Inside,
Yeah,
that's
like
why all
this.
other castes
Yes,
are
yeah.
here.
Okay.
There was actually a kind
Amnesty International, FCR, Foreign International.
What is
not
that?
mentioning the name, but there was a mass conversion.
Okay.
Recently, government trying to introduce what
FCR, Foreign International.
हाँ.
They are curbing the
FCRS. अच्छा. अच्छा. Oh.
Lot of things happen.
We know already there.
This is what is called as social branding. That's why I did not write this point. I was just waiting for you people to express. Huh? I knew it. In every session this happens. In every session this happens.
From reality is happening.
I'll just stay calm and people keep telling. I mean, that is normally the third issue with respect to Christian community. Social branding.
I realized the moment you are waiting for.
I really understood what.
I was just waiting what kind of diversity of points you will come in, generalized as social branding. Okay. Then when you talk about 6, the main issue with respect to 6 is radicalization process. Radicalization and separatist tendencies. With respect to your Khalistan movement, separatist tendencies.
They are having it, or we are calling it a socialistic.
Which one?
They are having separatist tendencies. Or
They generally have. Generally have. They are having. I'll not say they had.
but reports are only it's up to few.
Now when you see the farmer protests what are happening, you find that they are mostly orchestrated by funding from Canada and the advocates of your Khalistan movement. Most of your farmer protests are being funded by the advocates of Khalistan movement. That separatist tendencies, and especially there was a lot of negative propaganda that has taken place among the Sikh as a community with respect to your Operation Blue Star. That was the frictive point where actually your Sikh community started to express the element of radicalization or the extent of radicalization they have been subjected to, they have undergone. That Operation Blue Star was, to say, a misfire in the policy directives. Okay. Then after 6, then say to certain extent Jains. I'll not talk about Buddhists because marginal sections, Jains, mostly with issues with respect to formal employment. Formal employment opportunities. Because 78% of Jain community is self-employed. Business.
What is the issue, sir?
What?
Issue ఇక్కడ ఉంది దాంట్లో ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ ఉంది కదా.
I mean formal employment. There's a difference. Although they are self-employed, the nature of social security mechanism is absent for them.
Come under pharmacy. Or this.
How many of you have heard about JTI? JTI, Jain International, JTI. It is an extremely rich organization. Extremely rich organization.
Generally, Jains are very rich.
That is true. But this JTI, which is a kind of Jain association which basically supports them. Extremely rich. They have foreign branches. Just search JTI. I don't remember that abbreviation of T there. I'm not able to remember the T. But it is JTI, I think. It is one civil society organization generally considered, or is a kind of Jain association. And they have, when it comes to your bureaucracy, when it comes to your education, health facilities. Now during your COVID, they came up with a number of free hospitals and free beds. Yes, I think they had started a 1,000-bed hospital, free of cost. Just search for JTI, I think. Okay, so these are certain issues with respect to your minorities. JTI.
GIM.
Okay.
JTI is the one tuberculosis.
No. JGI is what? Jain? These are certain issues. Now what about your measures? Same measures again. With respect to constitutional measures, legal measures, and institutional measures. Now before getting into these, we have seen religious minorities. Now what are the issues with respect to your linguistic minorities? What are the issues with respect to your linguistic minorities? Huh?
Subjugation of culture, imposition of language.
One is cultural subjugations,
National language.
national language issue. So, I mean, how that is an issue with respect to your linguistic minorities? Dravidian?
అది లాంగ్వేజ్ గురించి తెలుసు
Huh?
ద్రవిడియన్ సపరేట్గా
One is cultural subjugations. Two is endangered status for such language or threatening the existence of that language. Yes. Then 3, language acting as a barrier for social needs. Language acting as a barrier for social needs. Now, to an extent, you can even talk about lack of recognition. Lack of recognition is nothing but leading to endangered status. These 3 to 4 points with respect to linguistic minorities. Generally, we'll fall short of points if we suddenly want to write some points on linguistic minorities. So, one is subjugation, endangered language or lack of recognition. Then language acting as a barrier for social needs. Now tell me, what is a way forward now with respect to tackling the issues of minorities? Constitutional with respect to the religious minorities also. Your Article 29, 30, Article 14, 15, 16, 25 to 28. 25 to 28. What is Article 49? Monuments. So Article 49 is also a kind of constitutional safeguards or constitutional mechanisms. What is your Article 51 Clause A? In 51 Clause A also you have protection of culture. So Article 49, Article 51A and Article 44 also. Uniform Civil Code.
So how can it be a measure?
Which one?
44.
See, when you look at 44, basically when you look at the socio-economic conditions, the socio-economic conditions of these religious minorities are mostly because of their civil codes. Now, for example, if we take the women rights in Muslims, it is at a threatened state because of lack of inheritance or because of this triple talaq, any of that kind. Now, when you have your Article 44 as uniform civil code, now it will inherently or it will somehow implicitly lead to the betterment of women. Because whatever discriminatory clauses of your civil code of that particular religion, they are being normalized by your uniform civil code under Article 44. Now, yesterday when we were discussing Article 44, we had seen it as a contradiction to secularism, but not as a contradiction to welfare mechanism.
So whether to implement it or not.
Yes, of course. When I am writing an answer on religious minorities, yes. నాలుక ఎలా తిరిగితే అలా తిప్పాలి.
Depends on the
Answer
particular
wording.
Yes,
చెయ్యి ఎట్లా తిరిగితే అట్లా రాయాలి.
అలా రాయాలి. Exactly. So that examiner should understand that, Arey Baba, this fellow is expert in this field. Should create perception management. You can forget anything in life, but not perception management, my dear. Don't ever forget. Huh? Now, don't maintain perception management to such an extent that in an interview you start scoring less like me. Okay? Maintain it to that an extent where you can defend yourself. Okay? Constitutional measures, right? Any other constitutional measure you can talk about with respect to your linguistic minorities? You can talk about Schedule 7. Sorry, Schedule 8. Schedule 8. Then what about legal measures? National Minorities Commission Act 1992. National Commission on Minorities, is it there? Yes, Section 2C of that will be institutional legal. You write it as National Commission on Minorities Act 1993. Then, as part of legal only, you can include even policy measures. You can even include policy measures. When you talk about policy measures, you can talk about schemes like Nayi Manzil. That is like Seeko or come off, earn while learning. Nayi Manzil. Then Nayi Roshni. MANZIL. Nayi Roshni, basically for the empowerment of minority women. Then Maulana Azad National Fellowship. Maulana Azad National Fellowship. Then Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas. Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas. Then for that case here, madrasas or Waqf board. Your Waqf board or Waqf council is a statutory body, please remember. Then appointment of committees like Sachar committee. Now please remember, whenever you are writing an answer on minorities, if you are not using Sachar committee, then you are committing a sin. Sachar committee. Sachar committee basically had been introduced or had been appointed to look into the welfare of Muslims, or to examine or to evaluate the socio-economic status of Muslims. Now, apart from Sachar, you also have Ranganath Mishra committee. You also have Ranganath Mishra committee. You also have Ranganath Mishra committee. So this is all about the measures. Institutional, you can talk about Waqf Board, National Commission on Minorities. Okay, national or that article, what is Article 350 Clause B? Linguistic Minorities Commissioner. Yes. Article 350 Clause B, which is part of your 7th Constitutional Amendment Act. What is Article 350 Clause B? 350B. Basically, you are creating an office of minority commissioners. Office of Minority Commissioner who is appointed by President and which has been incorporated post your 7th Constitutional Amendment. Right? So these are different mechanisms with respect to look into or to examine or to evaluate the welfare mechanism implementation of minorities.
What board will be holding up actually?
That itself is an office. Minorities Commissioner itself is an office. It's a constitutional position. President will appoint. Article 350B. Now your Article 343 to 351 is related to your linguistic. Yes. Your Article 343 to 351. Right? This is all about minorities. Now the next one is children. Children, you people tell me. Tell me what are the issues with respect to children?
Malnutrition.
Social issues
Education.
Like education?
So we need to divide on gender. Based on gender also.
I mean, we'll not get much points when you talk about male gender.
We'll add both in one.
Children as such. So when you look at children, we are generally considering up to 0 to 15 years of age as per census. Now when we look at the population of children, that is how much? It is roughly around 21%. It's roughly around 22%. It's roughly around 22 or say 25% of your population is children. Now when you look at the status of children, the first thing you're supposed to remember is violence or a form of child abuse. The first thing. The second thing you're supposed to remember is with respect to nutrition. And it is seen that 38% of children 39% of children in India are stunting or stunted. That means it basically indicates that there is high prevalence of malnutrition. Then when you look at the child labor, this is also an issue. This is also an issue with respect to children child labor. Child labor.
Trafficking.
Child labor and trafficking, yes. Now, apart from child labor, you also have gross enrollment ratio issues with respect to education, health, or with respect to your infant mortality rate, under 5 mortality rate, or neonatal mortality rate, or high rates of mortality rate with respect to your infants and with respect to your neonatals. In bracket, we can say absence or shortage of pediatric care. Shortage of pediatric care. Then next we can talk about absence of advocacy with respect to child rights. Child rights. Because there is lack of awareness among the people that there exists something called as child rights. For parents, child rights are beating their children when he does something. Yes. But when you look at child rights, the Indian society is very feebly aware about the child rights or the concept or phenomena of child rights. Now, when you talk about this subject of child rights, it became very popular only post Mr. Kailash Satyarthi, when he was awarded Nobel Peace Prize. Then only the advocacy for child rights started to grow up or build with respect to the India. Now, post year Kailash Satyarthi, this Nobel Peace Prize, and when the advocacy or activism for a child rights started to grow, what happened was India signed a number of child conventions or protection on child conventions or protection of child rights conventions. For example, convention number 182 and convention number 138. Your convention number 182 and convention number 138 basically dealt with child labor.
Convention number
182 and 138. And 138. I think in 2016 they had directly asked a question on convention number 138. Convention number 138 belongs to which of the following? I think it was related to child labor. Yes? Is it clear? Now, what are the measures?
so and also POCSO.
Hmm?
POCSO Act.
Prohibition of or prevention of
Protection of
protection of
children.
Children from sexual offences.
children from Sexual Offences Act. POCSO Act. I mean, you're talking about measures. Tell some measures. One is constitutional. Now, as part of your constitutional measures, are there any measures with respect to child rights?
Minimum education.
Article 21, Clause A
1A
or 21A.
and child labor.
Article 21A, first thing. The second thing you're supposed to look at, Article 24, child labor, Article 24. Then you need to look into Article 39, Clause E and Clause F. Article 39, Clause E and Clause F. Then Article 45. What is your Article 45?
Talks about providing education.
Providing opportunities for education from 0 to 6 years. Now, when you talk about your 86th constitutional amendment, when you look at 86th constitutional amendment, it amended your fundamental rights, it amended your DPSP, it amended your fundamental duties. Now, when you look at your fundamental rights, it is your Article 21A, where it said 6 to 14 years. Your Article 45 of DPSP was amended, where it said from 0 to 6 years. And with respect to fundamental duties, your 51 Clause A,
Made guardians to take care of
0 to 14 years. So your Article 51A, which is part of your fundamental duties, is also a kind of mechanism to protect child. Now, any other provisions with respect to children?
Article 19.
How 19?
Freedom of speech and expression.
What a child will have freedom of speech and expression. He'll have only freedom of crying, nothing more.
Sir, not 0 to 6 years, but beyond 6 to
It will become little jabardasti for us to put. You can take Article 21 and 21A, but not 19. I will not say 19. Any other provisions? Equality. How?
Girls.
Gender equality. That's what we talked about, Article 39, Clause E and Clause F. Any other understanding or any other article? I think with respect to children, that's it. Then what are the legal mechanisms? What are the legal mechanisms? POCSO, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. POCSO.
RT,
Huh?
right education.
Right to Education Act. Prevention of Child Labour Act or Prohibition of Child Labour Act and Prevention of Child Marriages Act. Child labour, child marriages. Then Commission for Protection of Child Rights Act 2005, CPCR. CPCR, it's an act. And the resultant of CPCR is NCPCR. Commission for Protection of Child Rights. Then for that instance, you can even include Manual Scavenging Rehabilitation Act 2013 because that categorically provides a provision for the children of manual scavengers. It says the children of manual scavengers, apart from being provided with necessary compensation, you are supposed to ensure the necessary educational facilities that are to be given for the children of manual scavengers. So Manual Scavengers Rehabilitation Act 2013 can also be included. Then what are the other mechanisms? What are the other mechanisms?
Juvenile justice.
Hmm?
Juvenile justice.
Yeah, very good. I forgot. Right in one, issues of children, you talk about juvenile delinquencies. Thank you. I forgot. Juvenile delinquencies. Juvenile delinquencies.
So what is meant by delinquency?
Delinquency is basically a kind of deviant behavior of that particular child. Deviant behavior or a criminal attitude that is generally seen in such kinds of children which do not or which are devoid of your primary and secondary enculturation process. Now when you talk about juvenile delinquencies, one classic example for juvenile delinquencies is your Nirbhaya rape. There was a 17-year-old in that. Now I think even in Disha, if I am not wrong, Disha case also there was a minor.
Yes, sir.
So this kind of deviant behavior with respect to child age is a consequence of absence of primary and secondary socialization in the form of family, in the form of society, in the form of educational institutions. Now when there is absence of any kind of such enculturation process, then that would result in a kind of deviant behavior, and which is generalized as juvenile delinquencies. So as legal mechanism, you can even include Juvenile Justice Act. Juvenile Justice Act 2000. Then you can include Immoral Trafficking Act. Immoral Trafficking Act. Immoral Trafficking Act.
Maternity benefit.
Yeah, to an extent. To an extent. Then when it comes to institutional, you have CARA, Child Adoption Regulating Authority. CARA, or Children or Child Adoption Regulating Authority, CARA. Now this CARA, basically it is a statutory body, first thing. The second thing you are supposed to remember is this CARA looks into adoption of both national and as well as international parents. Then we have National Commission on Protection of Child Rights, NCPCR. Then we have Juvenile Justice Boards, JJB. Juvenile Justice Board, which is a resultant of your Juvenile Justice Act 2000. Then when you talk about your policy initiatives, one example is Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, Mission Indradhanush, Poshan Abhiyan, yes, nutrition, health, education, your Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, sanitation, ICDS. ICDS is different. Poshan Abhiyan is different. Now here, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, that is midday meals, is part of ICDS. Now here Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, Rashtriya Madhyamika Shiksha Abhiyan and teacher training education have been clubbed under Samagraha Shiksha Abhiyan. There is something called as Samagraha Shiksha Abhiyan, where under Samagraha Shiksha Abhiyan you have your Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, then Rashtriya Madhyamika Shiksha Abhiyan and teacher training education, TTE.
National Education Policy. New Education Policy.
You can talk about new education policy also. New education policy also.
So what has been clubbed into this?
Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan,
The final name.
Samagraha Shiksha Abhiyan.
Grama Shiksha Abhiyan.
This is fine. Now what is the way forward? Way forward to maintain your child rights and so.
Especially like creating awareness.
Give them voting rights.
That is too early.
You want them to develop, give them voting rights.
Give them voting rights.
Awareness.
And obviously,
Sensitization and strong enforcements. Sensitization and strong enforcements. Moral support. Or ensuring a greater role of family, ensuring a greater role of society, ensuring a greater role of educational institutions with respect to the enculturation process of children. Or basically value-based education. You can talk about something called as value-based education. Value-based education. Is this clear? Now next we have which one? Health education tomorrow will deal anyway. Transgenders, old people and disabled. Actually there was a question expected this year on transgenders but it did not come. Because we had Transgender Rights Act which was passed in 2019, and this was a pending act for last 2 decades. 2019.
Even in 2020 only there was something amendment to the same,
Mhm.
like regarding the registration of the district magistrate council.
They did not amend it. That was just a suggestion. They did not amend it. In 2019 it was passed.
It was
We'll take 5 minutes break.
Yes.
5 minutes break. Then once we take 5 minutes break, then we'll finish this part.